If somebody were to ask you to describe a disciple, a follower of Jesus, what would you say?
By trusting our lives to Him. No matter what comes our way, He'll see us through it. So.
Alpha Prison Ministries is a Christian ministry with the purpose to evangelize and disciple men who happen to be prisoners and former inmates. We do that in 3 ways. Our first is in-prison Bible studies. 160 men every week in Bible studies throughout Southwest Michigan, run by our 50 to 60 volunteers who go in every week with the express purpose of getting men, inmates, into the Bible for themselves.
The volunteers from Alpha would come in on Monday nights, and that showed me that they loved us and they cared, and it didn't matter to them what our sin was, what our crime was, and that was the love of God, and that gave me hope, and I learned that God actually forgave me, and it was a beautiful thing, to know that we're forgiven, and that we're loved.
Amen. Amen.
The second way we evangelize and disciple men, we have transitional housing here in Grand Rapids. We have room for 11 former inmates to come here to Grand Rapids to move into one of our transitional houses, to get connected with a church, to find work, and to get their feet firmly established on solid ground, financially, socially, and spiritually.
Well, for me, Alpha Prison Ministries was a place to make a safe landing because I did a lot of time confined, over 11 years in prison. And everybody that does time in prison, especially when you do it a long time, is you wonder what's going to happen when you get out. It's kind of scary. And so it's kind of like the difference between taking a jet plane and doing a high-speed dive, or taking a glider and kind of glide back into society.
The rules at Alpha that are stated with Alpha is that you will not have no drugs, you will not have people coming in there and the things like that. But then when you go back to my old houses, that was the rule of play. You can do all them things. But at Alpha, because it was so important for me to stay there, and I knew this was my last chance, I started to abide by those rules. That kind of conditioned me to be the man that I am today.
And the third way we evangelize and disciple men is mentoring relationships. We will team up a former inmate with a more mature Christian who is a step or two ahead of him in the Christian life, and form a friendship to help that former inmate, again, transition back into society.
It's not about the hardships and catastrophe. It's about love. And the way you spread love is very important. How your life will be. And that's all mentoring is. Spread love.
So now I'm at a position, so much has been given to me, and now it just comes natural for me to give it back. I currently have a few mentees that are in my lives, and we have a wonderful relationship. I kind of liken my mentee-mentor relationship sort of like how Alpha was there for me. It would be like I would reach in my pocket and help them out. It was the same thing with Alpha. Not once did they ever shut the door on me. And so as a result, I can't shut the door on these men and women that I talk to and that God has put into my life to see it into. And that's something that I will forever be grateful for, because with that stuff that they allowed me to do, now I'm learning how to give it to other people.